The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Friday, the 22nd day of September 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lindos. I'm Jamel Hartman, joined by guest hosts Rajay Denbrook and Katherine Dale will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in his news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Raj.
Good morning. Doing all right today. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. I'm hanging in there, buddy. I'm hanging in there.
This is good. Say it again. I'm sorry.
Do you enjoy Fridays?
You know what I do? I try to exist outside of the capitalistic 9-to-5 framework. So Friday doesn't. I am always free. Every day is Friday to me, but I do like Fridays.
We're on the same page. Yeah, Friday don't mean much to me. I mean, you know, it's sad actually because I don't get to see all of these great folks until Monday again. You know,
this is fair.
Yeah,
it's been a great 4 days. This has been fun. I'm gonna be sad until I do this again.
So you're gonna come back?
Maybe. Darn it! Shoot, man, I just lost. No, like you're gonna have to convince me to come back. Like you're gonna have to sweeten the deal. Dang, I just threw away all of my leverage.
It's Teo, isn't it? It's Teo scaring you off, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Hold on, but Raj, you know what? Raj, let's let it be known. If Maya, let it be known that I have since apologized to Raj, right? Because Raj, remember, Teo branded you. Teo branded.
He took it a step further. He just got ridiculous.
Yeah,
he got ridiculous.
And I apologize for my behavior. Yeah. When Teo comes on to do his news break, I think it's only right that Teo gives you an apology for branding you. Okay, Raj?
I agree because Maya interceded on our behalves to get our acts together, and it's just completely right, and we will do so.
Yeah, folks. Even though Raj purchased the Clippers, but hey, sometimes people purchase the.
I had self-esteem issues. I just went along with things maybe I shouldn't have. But
a handsome sight like that with self-esteem issues, brilliant mind too. I don't know, but hey,
a walking contradiction. What can I say?
Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. We've got another good one today. We're welcoming back Dr. Katherine Dale for this Ask the Doctor segment. We're talking about grief today, and I really am encouraged by this conversation for one reason. Some people only attach grief, Raj, to death, right? And there's so many other forms of grief, but also some people think grief is only emotional, and I'm not quite sure people understand how it can impact our physical health. So really looking forward to this conversation. Always a great conversation with Dr. Dale. And folks, the Daily Play, it's a name that plays today. No, it's not. It's the things you should know. It's the things you should know, Raj. So last week, the question was, how many bones does a human have in their body?
Oh, I should know that.
You don't know that, Raj? You should know that.
I should know that.
Isn't it 206?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's 206. But anyway, you'll find out what today's question is, which is very easy, I think. I think you'll get it.
All right.
Okay, cool. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Well, I know Teo's going to be discussing this in his news break, right? But it's only right that we discussed. Well, Charles H. Jefferson II beat us to it. I don't know why Tate keeps jumping in ahead of his time. He's not trying to defend himself early against you, Raj. Trying to apologize. But
yeah, that's fair.
Charles H. Jefferson getting the conversation going. He says, morning, nice to see y'all are not impacted by the Russian hackers. Let's talk about it. Because let me just read something from the Queen's Gazette, right? Or King's Gazette, whatever they call it, the RG. So I went on there. I thought I was getting like spammed yesterday when I saw something about Russian hackers and Bermuda. Because I'm like, Russian hackers, Bermuda, dot on the map. Okay, cool. Bermuda has Russian business. I remember when the whole thing was going on, started with Ukraine and, registry of the aircraft. I get it. So here's what the RG has. The title of the article, Raj, says, Russia linked to IT cyber attack on government services. Well, it goes on to say a suspected cyber attack from Russia could have been the cause of a breakdown in government IT systems. It emerged yesterday afternoon. David Burt revealed, well, they didn't even say Premier, but Premier David Burt revealed that at least one other country was believed to have been targeted. The government was in the early stages of confirming what happened, the Premier said, but it was thought no digital information was taken in the incident. What possible digital information could they benefit from? I'm just saying. But anyway, we are into Bitcoin and fintech and all that stuff now, right? But I think this is one of the most concerning things. I know most people will say it doesn't impact me, right, Rajay? But I think this is concerning for a number of reasons. So many reasons. Audience, can you let us know, before we jump into the conversation? Well, you know what? Let's just ask the question. What concerns you most about the alleged cyber attack on government services? What concerns you most about it? Because we see this happening in other countries all the time. Didn't it happen to MGM Grand recently? Where they were
I found this is something. This is the Center for Strategic and International Studies.
Mm-hmm.
They have a list of significant cyber incidents since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And so in August 2023, Russian hacktivists launched DDoS attacks against Czech banks and the Czech Stock Exchange. Back in, again, August 2023, Russian hacktivists launched several DDoS attacks that knocked out the Polish government's website, as well as the Warsaw Stock Exchange. Russian hacktivists disabled Poland's rail systems by gaining access to the system's railway frequencies and transmitted a malicious signal that halted train operations. So that's just more from the Russians in August. They shut down stock exchanges, train systems, and now over in Bermuda, you see they shut down our entire IT infrastructure. And at the moment, I'm actually doing some contracted services for government. So my work was impacted. Like everything is digital. Now I'm not a what am I trying to say, a computer scientist, right? So I can't speak to this with much like reliable technical awareness. But when you consider the definition of a cyber attacks are attempts to steal, expose, alter, disable, or destroy another's assets through unauthorized access to computer systems. In the digital age that we live in, that could not be more profound and more concerning, right? They shut down our entire government IT infrastructure, more or less. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic. Teo says, they've done power grids. Imagine if they hit Belco instead of government's IT infrastructure. And Belco people have been claiming, right, they've been slow in recovering from hurricanes recently, right? We're getting a slight blow and their lights are going out. So if they get a significant cyber attack, do they even know how to respond to that at the moment? Obviously, that's a slightly rhetorical question because maybe they do have those contingencies in place, right? But this is an extremely serious thing that's taking place. And again, considering that every single thing that we do is digital, hopefully this isn't like the beginning of something bigger. I'm trying not to fearmonger.
I'm not trying to make light of the situation. I'm not. I really am not by saying this. But it may help that Bermuda isn't as advanced as many people would like in terms of many of the services that the public needs being online, right? Or is that like, I mean, I'm not saying that, we're so far behind it won't matter. I'm just simply saying that, we always talk about, oh, why can't we do this online? Why can't we do that online? Passports and different things. I agree with all you said, Raj, and thanks, Tay, for adding that, the power grid, because I think in somewhere on the East Coast, they were attacking the power grids in the last year, right? It's something that on the average day, Raj, you're walking in town past someone, they wouldn't think of this. Now, I know we're going to joke and say Russia this, Russia that, Russia, they don't even know we exist. Folks, Bermuda is a dot on the map. But when it comes to business, different types of reinsurance, captive, and so on, Bermuda's a big player. There are countries that we have not heard of that do business in Bermuda and territories. To me, this is a serious situation. It needs to be taken seriously. I don't know if I don't know the ins and outs of government. So I just want to say, from the outside looking in, one would hope this is a lesson, a big lesson for us to really, really get the infrastructure needed to protect us from something that could be even worse. Teo says, yep, the Russians have been going hard on the web for the better part of a generation. So let's go through some of the comments, Raj. Excuse me. Sonia Clark says, my personal information being used without my permission, that's what concerns her most. Now, keep in mind, being in the U.S., you get at least one piece of mail probably a year that, well, let's say you're with a phone company, your cell phone service or someone, they'll send you mail saying, oh, you're receiving this because there's a court case against us due to a data breach at such and such where you shopped or where you pay some sort of bill. It could be a retailer, it could be a restaurant, but there are breaches that happen all the time. It's a bit different. I'm sure everyone would agree. It's a bit different when it comes to governmental stuff, right? Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, what digital information does the government have? There's so much that. I mean, my point earlier when I said, I mean, in fairness, they're behind in a lot of areas. So, but again, although we may have to do things with paper and we may not be able to do things over the internet, they still have our information digitally stored.
But it does,
for instance, right?
Yeah. It does, but it doesn't really seem like they're trying to steal information. It looks like they're trying to disrupt. And again, I don't know. Again, I don't have I don't have an entire technical awareness of different types of cyber attacks, et cetera, et cetera. But just looking at the situation, I don't think we have any information that they want necessarily. Maybe they looked at what we did. We were participating in the sanctions, the international sanctions against Russia with what we did here with the flights. Again, I'm not being entirely reliable, but maybe that was enough to put us on some hackers list, and they said we have access, let's shut down their IT systems. But the comment was here. I'm sorry, Miss Tanya Cheeseman made this really good point. My concern would be if this is a test to see if they could be successful, then what would the real cyber attack be, and what would the impact be? What controls do government have in place? That's something I would like to see government clarify sooner rather than later. Like, what do you have in place to make sure that, number one, this doesn't happen again, try to anyway, and number two, it's not worse.
Yeah, and I think it'd be right for the premier or whoever oversees that department to come out and tell us after this, once an investigation is done, what happened and what's being done to protect us from happening again, or even something even worse. Adeline Swan says, my question is, how on earth did Russia find and inquire about tiny little Bermuda? Like I said, remember when the Ukraine-Russia conflict started, Russian planes were registered in Bermuda, if not mistaken. So these countries know about Bermuda simply from being a place to do business. That's the clean version of saying it. Michelle Weiss says, as billings are now online and payments are online, We will all be exposed through both Belco and government pensions and power, especially. Yeah. Michelle White goes on to say, remember, businesses say we punch above our weight. We need to protect just as much. Yeah. Raj.
We're an internationally relevant jurisdiction, and a lot of the times I think that's something that's lost on us as a people. We have been punching above our weight for centuries. Lord have mercy. I mean, you can go all the way back to the American Revolution and the gunpowder plot, and our position with the Atlantic, and Bermuda has always punched above its weight. It's always been internationally relevant. So we need to move like we are.
Well, I want to address this because Renee Simmons, to your point, she says the Russians don't care about Bermuda. Bermuda doesn't have no digital banking platforms nor info here. The most they would get are pictures from ITV, and they can keep that. That's not entirely true, though, because Bermuda has a lot of companies that are based here, right? And even if they're empty offices or no offices at all, we do possess certain information in that respect. So I take your point. Renee, I get you. I do. But again, it could have just been an attempt to say, okay, can we get in? All right, we got in. Now, what can we do to get to what we want to get to? And as Teo says, we have money, though. That's what ransomware attacks are for, right? Manuela John, she says, what could they possibly get out of that act? Most of us think that Bermuda has anything substantial to attract Russia's interest. Are they practicing in Bermuda? Again, folks, if you pay attention to the news, there are billions of dollars floating around in Bermuda, and I mean billions. Just because we don't see any of it directly, don't mean it's not there. There are a lot of international companies in Bermuda. Again, this could have just been a test. I'm no IT expert. Well, we have Misha Fabler. This is his area, right? He says, we applied a bunch of sanctions on Russia and froze their plane registries. Thank you, because thank you for that, Misha, because I remember, folks, and that's why it's easy to say, oh, Russia, little old Bermuda, Russia doesn't know we exist. But no, they have their registries in Bermuda. And so when the Ukraine-Russia conflict started, we applied, Bermuda applied. I'm not, Mr. It weren't me, Mr. Putin. Yeah, not doing it to me. I'm just saying. Look for Taylor and Raj. We applied a bunch of sanctions on Russia and froze their plane registries. Is Bermuda played a role? Bermuda said something. Bermuda did something. We are small, but somebody said it earlier, punching above our weight. We involved ourselves in it. Yeah.
Just looking at this list here, it says the 10 most common types of cyber. We have malware, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different pieces, 12 different kinds of malware noted. Ransomware, which Teo noted. In a ransomware attack, an adversary encrypts the victim's data and offers to provide a decryption key in exchange for a payment. You have fileless malware, spyware, adware, Trojan, worms, rootkits, mobile malware, exploit, scareware, keylogger, botnet.
What?
And that's just malware. Then you have a denial of service, DOS attack, a malicious targeted attack that floods a network with false requests in order to disrupt business operations. 3, phishing, and then phishing has 4 different kinds. 4, spoofing. Spoofing has 3 different kinds. Identity-based attacks, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different kinds. Code injection attacks, 3 different kinds. Supply chain attacks, insider threats, DNS tunneling, IoT-based attacks. So they had a litany. They have all kinds of ways and for different purposes. So yeah. And again, that's the first time I've even looked at something like that.
It's interesting. You were definitely having a conversation with Teo just now, because all that nerd stuff about IT and all that stuff.
Why we gotta go there? You know?
I'm sorry, Raj. I'm sorry, but I was trying to keep up. But you fellas talking. I'm like, I end up back there. You're a mile ahead of me. I'm trying to keep up with all this.
Stop it. Stop it. Why you do that?
But no, really, like
Computer, Lord have mercy.
It's much more complicated than I think people think. It's not as easy as just going on somebody's computer and doing something crazy, right? It's so much more sophisticated than I think people think. And to think that Bermuda's just this dot on the map and who cares? Oh, the premier is saying anything. I actually laughed when I first saw it, like, yeah, whatever. Then you think about it and you're like, no, this is actually possible, quite possible.
And very serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, like, what if maybe how would the international, how do you think the international business community is feeling right now? Because they do, I mean, the government obviously has valuable data, but an infrastructure that they have to protect, but so does the BMA.
Yeah.
So does, and all the other international businesses. So I would wonder, how are they feeling right now?
Yeah, this is true. This is true. I'm going to go through some comments. So we've got Michelle White says, did they say that our attack was ransomware? Would be interesting to know at what price. That they don't know we're broke. So actually, let me just go to the RG. The government, David Burt explained, the government is experiencing some challenges with the IT systems. There has been an incident which is affecting not only the Bermuda government, but some other regional governments as well. So I do wonder what those other ones were. So it looks like the Premier said Vance Campbell, so he oversees tourism and cabinet office. So it looks like IT would fall under him. And he said that the immediate impact is that the House of Assembly has been canceled for a second successive week. Well, I think the positive in that is that we don't have to hear men argue like children. Women sit there responsibly listening like, what am I doing here? Because I don't hear the women acting childish in the House of Assembly, in fairness. But that's the good part. The bad part is that it's keeping business from being done on the legislative level. So hopefully it can be resolved. Misha Fabulous says, Wired has a great segment with a hacker who goes over many of the ways that can access an organization system. So we're just going to wait till Raj comes back in. I'm just having some Wi-Fi challenges. Then we'll bring Teo in for the Daily Hour news break. But Wired, I'm guessing, is a YouTube channel. Misha, just help us out. I don't. What's Wired? How can people access that? Where can we see that? Michelle White says Russia may be ticked off that we took them off aircraft list or registry, right? I don't know. I don't. It can be a number of things. I don't want to speculate. I mean, I guess that's what we're doing. But let's bring Teo in for the news break. See if he's got any further thoughts on this. Russia. I'm not seeing anything bad about Russia.
I'm so sorry. I saw you make your point about the House has been canceled for a second successive week. Mm-hmm. They've disrupted our political process.
There you go. There you go. So, something achieved.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's bring Teo in, see what he's got for the Daily Hour news break.
Good morning, fam. You have kind of covered like the first third of the news today, as you should, as you responsible broadcasters. That makes perfect sense. But we're going to go a little bit deeper into a particular type of attack to hopefully illustrate the severity of this kind of situation, particularly in an isolated, tiny island like ours. Like taking a place like this offline basically means we're cut off from the rest of the planet in a very significant way. Like we can't just get in a car and drive across state lines to, get access to support and help. Like people will have to get in planes or on boats to help look after us. So that type of isolation on a place like this is especially significant. So as we have been discussing, early evidence suggests that a Russian cyber attack disrupted Bermuda's state IT services, including websites, emails, and phones. Premier David Burt summarized the circumstances and underlined that we're not alone in this condition during a press briefing yesterday afternoon.
There has been an incident which is affecting not only the Bermuda government, but some other regional governments as well. Our initial indications is it's come from an external source, most likely from Russia, and we are working with agencies to make sure that we can identify any particular challenges and make sure that services are restored as quickly as possible.
Now, if this is in fact the Russians, it might have been motivated by the local sanctions placed on 740 Russian-owned aircraft that you guys in the audience very sensibly mentioned earlier, which were, of course, motivated by the war of aggression against the Ukraine, which led the developed world to condemn Russia, deny them access to their properties and resources across the globe. Now, Russia has a deep history of cyber attacks going back nearly a generation, using the internet to harm their enemies and further their interests. Now, one of the most significant attacks took place in 2017, called the NotPetya attack against Maersk. Now, it's a Dutch company, one of the biggest shipping companies on the planet. They cover 76 ports across the globe, 800 vessels, and they represent a fifth of the whole world's shipping capacity. Food, medicine, supply chain stuff, like everything you can think of. 20% of that was taken offline due to this ransomware.
Former Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert said that according to White House assessments, the NotPetya attack resulted in more than 10 billion, with a B, billion in damages. To put that into perspective, the previous WannaCry attack of the previous month resulted in an estimated 4 to 8 million in damages. That's less than 0.1% of the cost of NotPetya. On October 20th, 2020, the United States Justice Department charged 6 Russian government hackers with the NotPetya attack and the attacks on the power grid in the Ukraine. No country has weaponized its cyber capabilities as maliciously or irresponsibly as Russia, wantonly causing unprecedented damage to pursue small tactical advantages and to satisfy fits of spite.
So, for the members of the audience that are looking for an explanation or justification for this kind of attack, that sort of sums it up. Like, there is precedent in history of Russian hackers doing it to pursue state interests, but also just to punish people that they feel have done them wrong. In other news, just under half of LF Wade International Airport is now owned by a new company. As you recall, Aecon Group previously announced the deal with Connor Clark and Lund Infrastructure to sell 49.9% interest in Bermuda Skyport Corporation. The terms of the sale were $120 million US following some closing adjustments. Now, Aecon explained that they'll retain the airport's management contract and will remain the majority shareholder of Skyport by holding to 50.1% interest in the business. Former Florida governor and U.S. presidential candidate and early victim of the Trump political movement, Jeb Bush, thanked Bermuda for our reinsurance environment and expertise yesterday during the 62nd General Assembly and annual meeting of the World Federation of Exchanges. The event took place at Hamilton Princess, where Mr. Bush said the local reinsurance market, quote, makes it possible for homeowners to actually own homes in Florida and for us to get better at risk management. Again, another reason why Bermuda could be a target for Russian actors.
Exactly
to do the U.S. harm by proxy. Now, Mr. Bush may be best remembered by local political junkies for being overwhelmed by Trump during the Republican primary for the 2016 U.S. election, as summarized here.
This is a tough business to run for president.
I know you're a tough guy, Jeb.
And we need to have a leader that is
real
principled.
tough.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to the presidency.
Let's see. I'm at 42 and you're at 3, so far I'm doing better.
Doesn't matter.
So far I'm doing better.
Yeesh. I don't know if y'all remember those debates.
I do.
I did. Really traumatized.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed and ashamed of how entertained I was by that moment.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, why did that entertain me so much?
Yeah, well, because we need to become better people, Jay.
Yeah,
but we know that.
What? That was.
I didn't say you. You notice. I said me and Jay. You're good.
I'm affirming. No, like, you have to be better people. That's something to laugh at. You see, yes, laugh at that. And he's getting flustered by Trump. Yes, laugh at both. Whatever. Anyway.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, you know what? I feel a little bit better about myself. Appreciate you, Raj. Now, speaking of Bermuda's insurance and reinsurance community, they're coming together to celebrate the 30th anniversary of formalizing the leading local industry leadership and collaborative organization. The event's called the A Beer at 30 Lunch Forum, and it's going down next Tuesday at Hamilton Princess, featuring industry leaders and Premier David Burt addressing the body. Now, an ABA rep shared that the 30-member companies that do business in Bermuda, they also do it in more than 150 countries, and they represent about 36% of the global reinsurance market and employ nearly 1,500 people on the island. In fact, ABA members wrote a record $145 billion of gross premiums last year. Now, finally, and this hopefully will be a palate cleanser, because today's been a little heavy so far. One of the things that Raj may not be able to relate to this as well as me and Jay, but one of the things that starts to bug you as you get older are naming conventions for new babies. Like, you have come across a kid or 2 or 7 with names that have left you confused, maybe even annoyed with their parents. Like something should have been done about this. They should not have been allowed to do this to this poor baby.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out in Australia, there are some legal restrictions to prevent the most egregious names being applied to newborns. However, one Australian journalist tested the prevention system and found that it's not as rigorous as she would have liked. Her name is Kristen Drysdale, and she works for the Australian public broadcaster ABC. And
Kristen Drysdale hosts a show where viewers ask questions, and one of them asked, how does the Birth, Deaths and Marriages Registry handle offensive name suggestions? So she decided to find out, never thinking it would be taken seriously. She named her child Methamphetamine's Rules, and 5 weeks later, after filling out the online form, received a birth certificate showing that is her son's new official legal name. But she has assured people she will change the name to something normal.
Now,
wait, she used the actual baby to do that?
Her baby. she decided to test it because she, like there are laws in Australia that are intended to prevent that exactly what happened from taking place.
Right.
So she figured, my audience wants to know, I'm having a kid, I'm a committed journalist, I'll give it a shot. And yada, 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 her kid's name is Methamphetamine Rules.
Let her change it.
Well, here's the thing I was thinking. It could have been worse, because if the kid was a girl and she named her Crystal Meth, that might have slid all the way through. Right? Thank you.
Yeah, I must say you thought about that, didn't you?
Yeah. Honestly, I did that whole thing just to get to that bit.
Yeah. That's great. That's great.
Raj, before you do days of the year, we just want to allow Teo to do what I did to you yesterday.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the reconciliation. I am ready for the conciliation.
Oh,
ready, yep.
Okay. 2 things. Two.
We don't need a preamble. It's just 2 words.
We've seen it. It doesn't need to still be on the thing.
Yes, it does. Just leave it there.
But Tay, we have to
this is not good for you.
We need context for the audience. So, folks, when we were working in radio, right? This morning show. Rajay went and purchased the clippers. Let's put that out there. Raj purchased it.
I was coerced.
Hey, that makes it worse.
Yeah, I was coerced.
Raj went and purchased the clippers, and Tay and Jay's barbershop was Tay and Jay's barbershop. And Teo and folks, you see in the picture.
I'm getting there, Maya. I'm getting there.
So, this is me taking care of Rajay, putting alcohol on him. But look at Teo doing. So Raj is waiting for an apology.
You need to stop saying that he's waiting for an apology. I have apologized for this several times. I think I apologized that day.
My spirit I know that you didn't. You went to the Senate and bragged about it.
Excuse me.
I did not brag about it.
Yeah, you did.
It was obliquely mentioned.
Okay.
But yes, I am deeply sorry that we convinced you to participate in what I think we can all agree was a really great bit.
Yes.
But one that left you needing a baldy for a couple of weeks. I do feel guilty about it.
Raj, do you
Yeah.
accept our apology?
But you got a good shaped head. Look, it could have been much worse. If me and Jay had it, we got divots and lumps.
Yeah.
Like convex portions of our skull. Look. When my hair is cut real close, if I'm outside when it's raining, like I can pour a cup of water, just like it'll fill up the cup. I swear, right? You don't have any of those problems. You have a lovely head.
But when I turn to the side, I don't know, but front on, we're okay. We're okay.
The question is 2 questions. One,
yeah,
would you let Tanjay's barbershop reopen?
I would whoop. I would make sure I will burn the place down.
Wow.
I would sabotage that business so quick. I would spread all kinds of lies about you two. I would tell you'd have no help.
Okay.
Second question. Do you accept the apology from Tanjay's barbershop?
I accept an apology from 2 men who have had my back for over a decade. I do not accept an apology from an illegitimate business.
Yeah, I was about to say, Jay, he was our first and only client, and I know we didn't get licensed and nothing like that.
So I can't be
like health and safety regulations would not be observed.
So I'm at a question. Whatever happened to the barber clippers?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I can't blame you for that.
What's the day of the year? What we got?
Today is Ladies' Night Day.
Ladies' Night Day?
It's Ladies' Night Day.
What that mean? We got to take a lady out to dinner?
That's right. You treat a lady. Ladies, go out, have fun tonight. Expect men to treat you in all the ways. You pay for nothing. You prioritize yourself. It's Ladies' Night Day. Go out and have a good night. It's your night.
Ain't that like every day for a lady though?
It's Ladies' Night Day, Jamal.
That's how it should be. That's what I was thinking.
That's what I'm
I'm glad they're highlighting it for a day, but it really should be like that.
All the time.
Ladies, are you going to make sure you enjoy Ladies' Night Day tonight? Let us know. And if any of you are looking for a date, anybody single?
Oh, actually, I messed it up a little bit. I'm really sorry. I got patriarchal from him. It's actually Girls' Night Day.
Oh, girls. Oh, so the girls.
Sorry.
Okay. Girls.
Ladies, get your other ladies together and take over.
Okay.
No, it's Women's Night Day then.
What is that? Oh, no. Again, patriarchal. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I have so much.
Yeah. I was just about to say.
Important, Rob.
It is Ladies' Night. We love you.
We're sorry.
That's fine. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, that went pretty badly.
For ladies, I'm gonna play some bingo tonight to celebrate. Wish her luck. So, hey, bring home the cash.
Get that money, girl. Get your bag.
We got.
I just had a flashback. I'm starting to show my age. Bingo on Friday nights on the TV. I'm sorry.
You remember that?
Yeah. This is why I love being born 1990, because I got the last of the analog years, like those last 5 years.
Can you and Maya stop reminding us that you were born in the 90s? Nobody need to know that we were born in the 80s. All right, like let's leave it at that.
You guys are brilliant. Just age gracefully. I don't know why you're putting all of this.
It's not possible.
It's Raj. We're gonna say you goodbye because we got Dr. Dale waiting on us.
Yeah. And Dr. Dale is make really useful.
Charles, we ain't worrying about him.
Charles, yo, chill out, man.
Yeah, we ain't worrying about you, brother. Our apologies.
Intervening in the situation, like we had to settle between 3 brothers, and he's talking about lack sincerity.
On the track of getting back. Anyway. Dr. Dale's looking for us. We're going to take a quick break. Tay, have a great weekend, and we'll see you back next week.
I bet. See y'all.
All right.
Oh, wait. Before, remember, maybe not, because,
Yes.
Got a baby on the way. Yes. Very, very excited about it. And any minute now. So it may be that I have a very good reason to not be on the show. And I got to tell you, I will miss you, but really, I won't be thinking about y'all that much.
That's okay. Trying to think about us with a baby.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying. So maybe not. But you will know really, really quickly.
I guess Maya thinks that Rod should cut our hair back, but that ain't happening.
I'm
It's gonna be your
I'm
baby.
balding as it is, bro. So like at this stage, I'm not fearful of that. Like you're just mildly accelerating the inevitable.
Yeah. This is it. Congratulations, says Karen Simmons. All right, let's take a break. We've got Dr. Dale coming up. Tay, we'll see you soon. I'll just say soon. How's that?
Sure.
Bye, Daddy Dale.
Yeah. I appreciate it. See y'all later.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's.
Celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field. Number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Rajay Denbrook, I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring in our good friend and colleague at this point, Dr. Katherine Dale. Give her a warm TDH welcome. Alrighty. Good morning, Dr. Dale. Welcome back. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you. Good. I've been enjoying the jokes and the banter back and forth, and a fairly good apology, although maybe he needs a few lessons.
Apology?
Pardon?
You have to work on our apology then?
A little bit.
Yeah, Dr. Dale, I don't know how long you've been in Bermuda, but about 15 years ago, Rajay had the time of his life with Teo and I, and now it's like the band's back together. He would literally beat us up, chase us down at this point. He's bigger than us now. He's stronger than us. So yeah, we that's why we do the show like this, so that we're not in his space and he can't do anything to it. Yeah. It's all good fun, but no, thank you so much for hanging around, sticking with us, and thank you for always being willing to come on and have these kind of conversations. As mentioned earlier, we're talking about grief today, and there's so many. I mentioned it earlier. So many people attach grief just to death. Right? Just explain, what grief is, the various forms of grief, to give people an understanding of what it actually is.
Yeah, grief, of course, the biggest grief that we know about or understand as humans is loss of another being, right? But that's not the only time we feel grief. A great way that I've heard it explained is it's whenever you've had your heart broken. So we've all experienced that, and it could be a loss of a relationship. It could be a change of location, starting a new job or starting back to school, leaving your country. I know a lot of Bermudians experience that, and that in itself can create all sorts of feelings of sadness and loss and grief. So any of these experiences that we're having, we need to be conscious that they're going to be emotions that are attached to it. So much of our time is spent thinking, like logically and intellectually about things, even when we interact with one another, when we apologize with one another, to one another, we're thinking about it. But the thing about grief is it's really intrinsic. It gets really into your body, into your bones, you feel it. It's not only in your head. So we have to be aware that there are many issues and many areas of our lives that we can experience grief in. It's not only the physical loss of other beings, but also experiences. Perhaps even we're dissatisfied with the way our lives are going. We're not happy with the job we're in. That can also create grief. It can create sorrow in our lives. So there's many different issues. Even something where we're giving something up. A lot of people that I work with are dealing with issues of weight gain and metabolic syndrome. So there might be something that people are giving up, an addiction that they're giving up, or a food that they're having to give up. And that in and of itself can create a feeling of grief, a feeling of loss.
I did not even consider that though. Like you just saying food, like I did not consider. Continue your thought, but you just triggered. Like I didn't think that could be considered grief.
Yeah, anything that's like separating ourselves from something that we were attached to, something we identified with, something that was an important part of who we are and how we exist on a daily. And that's another thing, having to give up a certain food that was so important to us, that gave us comfort. We reach for things in our lives really to help ourselves survive, to help ourselves get through different things. And we'll go into more. And like when we don't process our grief, we don't process our losses, then we start to reach out for more and more things to kind of build us up. But whenever we have to let go of something, let go of, whatever the sugars that we've been eating, the caffeine or the nicotine or other substances, there's going to be a grieving process. We're letting go of something that's been a part of us, that's been supporting us, that we've reached for, in situations when we were struggling. So we're going to have to be conscious of that and aware of that and process that loss, process that grief. And we need to be honest about those things too. That's the biggest part. It's when we start to pretend, when we start to push it down, and we'll go into more of that too, that unresolved, when we're not facing things. So it's important to think of all the things that might be creating that grief and loss and resentment in our lives.
This is such an important conversation. And you said so many important things. And it's a very affirming conversation for me. It's very cathartic things you actually just said to me as well. I'm going to be very transparent for a moment. So I went through a major life change a few years ago. I was married in 7 years, and my wife and I were going to be separated in that. And then I was clinically depressed, and it was when COVID happened as well. So I've been diagnosed with clinical depression once before that, but this was different. I was in a hole. I didn't know up from down, left from right. I stopped eating. And I realized that I had to stop. I had to understand, because I thought I was an emotionally intelligent person. And I went, and I finally said to myself, Raja, you feel emotion in your body. You can't think your way out of this. You have to do something. So the first thing that I started to do was move. That was the first thing I did. I said, you have to stop being stationary. You have to move. And once I started moving, I was doing yoga. And then after yoga, I started doing weight training. After weight training, I had to start eating right because my body had to sustain it. So I got my diet right. And then my mind started to click back in. So it's such an important conversation. But my question is, so I just said, this somatic approach. What are some ways that people, what are the other ways that people are able to deal with the impact of grief?
Well, the other ways, the first ways that we are going to start to deal with it is to start talking about it, to face it. We have so many myths about how we're supposed to process, how you're supposed to, stiff up your lip. You don't want to upset other people. You need to stay strong for your children or stay strong for whomever. It's so important for us to be able to be seen in our grief. So, and to feel the grief, not to be apologetic about crying, and not to be apologetic about feeling depression, to have a moment, maybe a very long moment. I mean, 7 years of a relationship is significant. But even short relationships, say a woman has lost a child, a miscarriage. I mean, that is a long enough life that she can believe that she has been a mother, and to lose that identity is significant. So there's going to be a time when we're going to need to withdraw. There's going to be a time when we're not going to be our usual uppity up selves, and that is all fine. So it's finding space for that. One of the ways that I myself have dealt with grief is to be in grief recovery groups, also to consult with a grief counselor, and to do your own work as well, to spend time remembering, to spend time writing letters. There's grief recovery books as well that are great for individual work, or if you've got a partner to work with. I attended a grief cafe. It's called a death cafe, and it's here in Bermuda. The third Wednesday of every month at the library. And shout out to the Bermuda Public Library. And that was an amazing event. I myself lost my sister in 1996. And at that time, I did a whole bunch of processing with the bereaved families of Canada. It was an incredible experience. But last night, it had been years since I'd been in a group with a group of grievers. Everyone there was fine with grief. Everyone there was accepting of the sadness. There still were moments where people were apologizing for their crying, but I was able to just be honest, to let the tears flow, to express my empathy for others, and to feel the empathy from other people in how devastating it is, how transformative it is to experience loss. It puts you in a different space. It makes you conscious of different realities of life. I mean, I myself remember feeling completely detached from reality. And it took some time, and it took people around me to support me and protect me, really, because I felt so detached from who I had been. I lost my sister, and she had meant so much to me, not only my sister, not only my friend, but my little mother. And so what we need to do is start by accepting that we have experienced loss, that we're not going to be able to just jump back right into it and recover on our own, that there's going to be depression, there's going to be these feelings. So we need to ask for support. We need to look around ourselves and find the groups and find the counselors and find the friends and family that can support us through it.
Wonderful. And, I think one of the big lies of the modern world, this industrialized capitalistic world of ours, is that the emotional self doesn't matter. Right. So then it leans into this whole idea of stiff upper lip, get through it, get over it. It does. Right. And then especially for Black men, we're not supposed to have emotional selves. Right. We're not supposed to have an internal world and have to access ourselves emotionally. And to do that with other people present, that's something that many people still consider taboo, feminine. You're not supposed to do that. When actually, that's the layer from this lie, because we were dehumanized. But anyway, I'm not going to get on my soapbox, but
no, it's good, bro. It's good information.
Go for it. Yeah.
But sorry, that was leading into my question. I'm so sorry. So when Black men experience grief, you see, we have our brothers killing each other in the streets, right? That's grief. Like it's death. It's a ball of just mess and trauma that's in families, and I can only imagine. So, but because of all of this stuff that says the emotional self doesn't matter, it goes unresolved. So my next question is, what impact can unresolved trauma from grief have on someone's health?
Yeah, it's overwhelming. I myself, arriving in Bermuda when I started to experience the loss and the trauma, and heard the stories of the Bermudians, it was just so overwhelming, really, so sad. And people had really, again, it just seemed like there was this detachment of how they were thinking about it, and they were trying to process it, and having memorials and remembering, of course, on the T-shirts and all of this thing. But I could see how it was just, and I could hear it, in my sessions, how it was filtering into their bodies in a way that they couldn't see. They couldn't understand how it was connected to their physical health, how they were no longer able to function without, function without addictions, function without comforting themselves with various things that were around themselves. And I mean, it, like I said, it's a broken heart, so understanding how your emotional or your intellectual processing of grief is going to move into your body. So it can manifest because of a change of your lifestyle. But I believe it becomes this somatic experiences, like your body starts to read the emotion, your body starts to process and express what is going on. If you're not able to really just accept how devastated you are and try to express how you desire this change, to start to see that things are going to change in the world around you. If you are taking it all on yourself and thinking that you're going to be able to change the way the world is, that that one person is going to be able to change the oppression and the disillusionment that people are feeling, there needs to be a connection to other people. And I think that having group sessions where men are able to communicate with each other, to share with each other, to cry with each other. Now, the session that I went to last night was mostly women, and that again is a real disservice to ourselves as humans, that we are categorizing and limiting how we can express ourselves. And it's going to end up being things like high blood pressure, that stress, the anxiety, the worry that we're ending up taking on, that men are having to protect everyone and having to, make sure that this doesn't happen again to their friends. And this worry, this anxiety, that the world is not a trustworthy place. I had conversations with people recently about wanting to have ways to protect their family. And I just think to myself, what a horrible way to be living, right? To think that you're constantly having to protect yourself. You're constantly at risk of being attacked. And that's what happens to us as well. That loss, that anxiety, that fear, that sadness, if it gets stuck in our body, it becomes a mistrust. I mean, why would we trust the world again? Why would we trust to open our hearts again? Our hearts are broken, and when they're broken, they're open. And so we become much more empathetic and understanding of other beings, but we also become much more vulnerable. So when we do open up to other people, when we start to desire to be friends, to want to connect to other people, and they push us away, it is that much more painful. So it's understandable that we start to create gates and walls and protect ourselves. And we don't want anyone in anymore. And so it becomes more and more difficult. We have this unresolved trauma, and it not only affects us, not only affects the current reality and who it is, it continues to affect other generations of beings. And we feel that in Canada, big time, and of course, my desire is to have resolution, to have forgiveness, to, have that resolved, but it's a huge journey.
What services does NMAC offer for those struggling with grief?
Well, one of your first places you can go as a person who is grieving is to talk to your medical doctor. There are, things that your medical doctor can do herself or himself, have a session with you to talk and just to witness your grief, to witness your trauma, and to start to talk about how it might be affecting you physiologically. I know that often it can be a bit of a blurred line, when someone's in an experience of huge grief. When my sister died, my father became unwell and he had this headache. And so they thought that it was grief, but really it does need as well to be considered physiologically, because I think we do manifest it physiologically. He actually had low spinal fluid. So talking to your doctor is important, and perhaps there is some medication that you could use from the medical doctor as well. As a naturopath, I often use homeopathic remedies. I have one here in the clinic that I use quite a bit for unresolved grief, for that loss, for that trauma. The thing about grief and the thing about resentment and of the loss or of whatever that's changed in your life is it's almost like you think that holding on to a resentment is going to be damaging to the other person, right? But really it ends up being just poisonous to yourself. So being able to talk about it, being able to process it with your medical doctor, with a professional. Then, of course, we can refer you on to other resources, the Death Cafe, as well, Agape House resources within your own workplace as well. They'll have employee assistance programs too for you to start to process what's going on. It's really important for you to just be super conscious of any changes that are happening and trust the people around you as well, because they're telling you things as well. And although it's hard to be present in your grief, to be crying and to be sad, if you do show it, then people will be able to support you through it and find you other help as well.
Indeed. This is a bit big, so I'll put it on the side. Emily Gail Dill says, thank you for this conversation. My husband became very ill in 2020 and was not expected to live. Miraculously, he survived, but now lives with challenges with his sight, hearing, and mobility. He can no longer drive and is now dependent on others. In spite of our immense gratitude that he has survived and is still able to live, love, and contribute to society, we find ourselves sometimes grieving for life as we knew it. What would you say to someone like Miss, I believe that's Senator Dill there?
Absolutely. We can be in the process of grief recovery even when the person is living. This loss of physical ability, loss of the mental ability. My own father is starting to go through the process of dementia, and saying goodbye to him at a certain level is so important for us now, and realizing that the person themselves is changing, but is not a different person, and still deserves and still desires our love. And so much of our struggle with death and survival is really, while the person is living, it's their struggle, right? So that one person is struggling, but when the person passes and moves on and accepts the loss, accepts their illness, then it's the people that are remaining that have to hold on to the trauma and the grief. So for us to be able to continue to care for loved ones and to accept completely that who they are is not something that they're doing to us, or that we have any need to be upset about, really just to continue to love them, continue to enjoy being with them, and to realize that this is an opportunity for us to give the love back, from a family member, from a friend, from whomever it is that's struggling now in their physical or mental abilities as a human. Things have changed for them. Their reality has changed. And now it's our time to really give back. And that's a beautiful experience, a wonderful way to process our own griefs and our own losses. And we've all had them, right? Is to give that love out and to to express that love and that loss in a way that is emotionally giving, and that's a way of healing.
Just remind people how they can get in touch with you to connect with you if they want to learn more or want to schedule a session with you.
Yeah, you can actually book now on our website at nmac.em. I know in other episodes we've put the exact link. I'm at Bermuda Naturopath on Instagram, and there we go with our Helo app. You can also give us a call at 293-5476, and reception will help you book in an appointment here at North Shore, over at 7 North Shore. And while you're here, check out our beautiful mural. Take some photos with that. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but such a manifestation of love, again, of the youth of Bermuda. Our intention here at North Shore of creating a healing space that's also filled with the beauty of the place, and a reminder, going into the waters, the healing waters, the salt water of Bermuda, exposing yourself to the sunlight. These are ways for healing as well. Trusting that the body will receive that energy and receive that healing, and it will start to mend your heart.
All righty. Thank you so much for today's conversation. Look forward to extending it. And folks, reach out if you're dealing with something. Please reach out. See how the people at NMAC and Dr. Dale can assist you. Dr. Dale, have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
All right. And we're going to give away $100. We're going to do the draw after this break. So NMAC is giving a $100 gift card. So stick with us. Have a great one, Dr. Dale.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye.
We appreciate the conversation with Dr. Dale. Please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. You can hashtag NMAC. When we come back, we'll do the draw live on the air. Just hashtag NMAC, and we will come back and reward you all or someone with a little something. All right. So it's hashtag NMAC. If you want to be in the draw, stick with us. We'll be back after this to see who the lucky winner is.
Are you ready to reel in incredible savings? Get set, because right now at ER Fisheries and Foods, we're making a splash with 10% off store-wide back-to-school sale. Dive into delicious savings today. It's a feast for your wallet. Swing by ER Fisheries and Foods in person or surf our online store to savor these unbeatable deals. But hurry now, the 10% off store-wide sale won't last long. ER Fisheries, your destination for the finest fish, seafood, meats, and more.
Folks, if you appreciated that conversation with Dr. Katherine Dale, ask the doctor, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share this conversation. You never know who's dealing with grief and who may be able to assist. Sorry I missed your comment. B. Denise Hollis said a broken heart due to grief is a real physical health diagnosis called broken heart syndrome. It was a good conversation, and I hope that you or someone got something out of it. I encourage you all the time to share these conversations. I know we share videos like last night, the police video that went around, someone who's with their landlord going off and so on. But let's share some good information that can actually help people. And I did get something from the police this morning. If you saw that video, that it was a confirmed incident from last evening. So we'll probably touch on that in subsequent episodes, but we'll do the giveaway. But thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Better Calls, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these conversations with you on a daily basis. Again, thanks again to NMAC and Dr. Dale for stopping by with such important dialogue. And folks, I encourage you to like, follow, share these conversations. It's time for the Daily Plate, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Raj, are you ready?
No, but let's do it.
Okay, he's never ready.
I'm
Here's
not.
the question, this is easy, Raj. You've got this.
All right.
What ingredient do people with celiac disease have to avoid in their diet?
Oh, I don't know.
Really?
I should know that, but I do not.
I thought you would have got that one time. You knew that.
I should know that, actually. Guys, that's clearly what it is. Like, I should have known that.
What is it referred to? It's not There we go. Karen Simmons got it. It's gluten.
Dang. I 100% should have known that.
Yeah, gluten. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's do the giveaway. Well, let's wrap it up first. Let's final thoughts on this morning's conversation on the Russia situation, and then the hacking situation, not the Kremlin. Again, I said nothing about Russia with Jamal, about the hacking situation, and then obviously the conversation with Dr. Dale.
Yeah, I think we have to remember that Bermuda is an internationally relevant jurisdiction. There are immense companies here, billions of dollars represented internationally. We are relevant and we are vulnerable. And we have to make sure that we have the things in place to ensure that we are okay. Bermuda's not just a dot on the map. We are a target, quite literally. And also there are other ways that this can happen. Right now, it's just our IT infrastructure. Could it be the power grid next time? Hopefully not. In terms of that wonderful conversation with Dr. Natalie? No.
Katherine Dale.
Dr. Katherine Dale. I'm sorry. I'm dyslexic, everybody, as well. So don't be mad at me. When I was going through, I've had to, after I went through my whole processing a few years ago, a lot of other stuff came up. So these last few years of me have just been processing, holding space for myself and processing. And this idea that the emotional self is secondary or isn't worthy is completely fabricated. It was literally made up in order to make us subservient. The thing that really allowed me to support myself emotionally was looking at a lot of indigenous wisdom, like pre-colonial wisdom, and a lot from Africa. This idea that, and it's very clear in all of the different teachings. When you deny your emotional self, you are doing damage to yourself, the community, and future generations. They actively hold space for the emotional self. Nothing festers, because if it festers, it's going to harm you, the community, and future generations. And they even like the whalers. Do you know about the whalers? Like the women come together and they go at the funerals. That is them inviting grief into the process. So this idea that we don't process stuff is a very modern thing, and it's not how we've always been.
I say this, I echo everything you said on both, but it's regarding to the hacking situation. I think we all should be concerned. I would encourage people not to downplay it and think that a country is not interested in another country simply because they don't think it exists. Bermuda plays a major role economically in so many spaces. Bermuda's name and the Cayman Islands in particular are in conversations in places, as I stated earlier, that we may not have ever heard of. So keep in mind, regardless of how we feel or how small or little we think of what Bermuda is as a jurisdiction, it does play a major role. So it is possible. That said, we need to be concerned. Let this be a lesson that we need to upgrade, update, and secure ourselves from greater danger digitally. As far as the conversation on grief, I appreciate the vulnerability of yourself and others who share, because to me, it humanizes. This is not just talk for talk. It's actually engaging conversation to help others. You never know who in this audience is dealing with what. And the fact that we can be vulnerable enough to have these conversations, to share our own stories, and have experts like Dr. Katherine Dale on here to offer resources and information to help. That's why this show exists. So folks, if you know someone, or if you yourself is going through something, please know that there are resources available. You don't have to do it alone. Just keep that in mind. At the end of the day, all of us is experiencing something. Let's do the giveaway. I'm sure people waited long enough for that. Dr. Katherine Dale says, real quickly, the grieving process never ends. Just because the relationship ends, we still have our experiences and feelings. Indeed, Dr. Dale, thanks again. And again, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Please share it. Share it. This was important information. All right, let's do the giveaway. All right, let's see. Who's it going to be, Raj Weezy? Let's do it. Here we go. Here we go. Sherry Lynn Johnson.
All right, Miss Johnson.
With a gift, you know what to do. Send us an email at engage@thedailyhour.com. We will get your information over to the great folks at NMAC to collect your $100 gift card. So again, folks, audience, congratulate Miss Sherilyn Johnson, if you will. So before we head out, do the daily inspiration. Raj, you've been guest hosting with me this week. Audience, I need your opinion. What do you think of Raj guest hosting this week? Be honest. Let them know. What do you think of Raj guest hosting? But I want to say this while they answer. Raj, it has been a great pleasure. And if we're being honest, when we created this show, Shanta in particular has been trying to get Raj on this show. Shanta, she loves her some Raj. Raj is, if she calls me the most annoying little brother, Raj is probably her favorite little brother. And it don't bother Teo and I. But it's really been a pleasure having you back in a space that you belong. Let me say that again. It is great having you back in a space where you belong. You are a man. When Teo and I we tormented. It was all in good fun. But to see how you've grown, to see, I haven't shared, and just audience, all of you who have sent stuff to me about Rajay, I have not shared not one thing with him. Not that he has an ego, but simply because I was waiting to let you all publicly tell him what you've been sending to us. But it's been a pleasure. I do miss Nana. I do miss your mom. I haven't seen them in a long time. So I was encouraged to see your mom in the audience yesterday. But how has this week been for you, Raj? How have you enjoyed doing this this week?
You're gonna make me cry. Stop it. I feel like I've come back home.
All right.
I feel like I've come back home.
And we are happy to have you back home. And Suzanne Ingham, she agrees with me. She loves it. Emily Senator Dill says excellent guest host. And Misha says only caught the show today, but it's a pleasant surprise. Hopefully he'll be on more frequently. Yeah, Misha, you've been ditching us. You must be busy doing something else. He must be busy doing something. I don't know what, but
a little thing.
Yeah, a little something. Renee Simmons says a pleasure. The connection between you two is awesome, but you got to see him and Teo. Katherine Dale, Dr. Dale says, I appreciate it, Roger. His honesty and his connectivity. Yeah, literally, that connection you had with Dr. Dale was great. Roger, it's been a pleasure seeing you and hearing from you this week, says Auntie Karen. Pamela Wade, Nana Pam says, and awesome, enjoyed his enthusiasm and banter. And Headley Swan says, Roger has been awesome. It's been a pleasure. I've never seen him or heard of him before. However, I thoroughly enjoy. See, Raj, not everyone knows how I used to treat you. Teo used to treat you. Teo. Polly Rich says, excellent host, agreed. So on that note, Raj, let's give us some daily inspiration before we head out for the weekend. But Raj, so will you come back? Like, are you like, do you trust us to be back?
I'll think about it. Well, I'm just in Charles, and Maya gave me an excellent bargaining chip. If we want to make this apology a bit more substantive, perhaps, just perhaps, we need to go get some more clippers, and I need to sit y'all two in the barber chair, and I can get Cyril and Winter to help me. My girls, they can put a little design in the back of your head.
Raj,
yep, that's not a no.
Inspiration for us, Raj?
From my absolute favorite person ever, I can only hope to have a segment of this woman's expertise and wisdom and mastery. The inimitable Toni Morrison, the author, Toni Morrison. Don't let anybody convince you this is the way the world is and therefore must be. It must be the way it ought to be.
Thank you for that. And that's your daily inspiration brought to you by ER Fishers and Foods. Thank you for that. I see we've got November coming up, says Maya. And then Teray says exactly, and live stream it.
Black women, where it's at, yo. I love you too. Thank you.
Yeah, we've one error didn't happen. We will live stream it if he cuts Teo's hair. Roger is like a breath of fresh air. And Sherilyn Johnson says, you guys are funny. Thanks for the laughs this morning. Angela Cellini says, excellent host. And also love the interaction between the three of you. We appreciate you, honestly. Thank you all so much. This show has gone through so much growth. over the last 3 years. And, as some say, the band back together. Sherry, hopefully, will be back next week as well to take her place. But we hope to continue to have people who love to be in this space, engaging and committed to bringing the level of conversations we expect that can improve our community. So, Rajay, thank you so much for giving us your time this week. The audience definitely enjoyed you. Your wealth and knowledge. It's been a pleasure, and I'm happy that we have created a space where you feel back home. So, audience, please don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you on Monday. He's Rajay Denbrook. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great weekend. We are out. Peace.